Hello everyone, Zeno here. Here to bring in part 4 of What If TMNT Were Teleport in Avatar. Link down description of the fanfiction of this what if. Listen here YouTube. I do not own anything and this is not a scam. Chapter 7, City of Walls and Secrets. Hello everyone. Thank you all for waiting. Now then, let's get started. I own neither Avatar, Last Airbender, nor TMNT 2003 series. City of Walls and Secrets. New York City, lair of the turtles. All was quiet within the lair, too quiet. It wasn't usually like this. Often there was some form of noise caused by at least one of the 4 teenage mutant ninja turtles, but no turtle was there. No, the only occupant was the humanoid, mutant rat, Master Splinter, who was mediating on a mat in the middle of the lair. He heard some noise and looked with one eye open to see the hexagonal-shaped door open to reveal none other than Casey Jones walk in with his golf bag filled with hockey sticks, baseball bats, cricket bats, and even a few golf clubs. "Yo, Master Splinter, you called me." The vigilante called out. Splinter got up and began to walk towards him. "Yes, have you seen my sons? Their absence does not sit right," he said as he stroked his beard. "No, haven't seen them for the last few days." Casey replied. "Heard they went off on some fancy mission." "Yes, I heard that as well, one involving the Shredder and the Foot." Splinter confirmed. Whoa, did you just say Shredder?" The surprised Casey questioned. "That's it, I'm gonna go look for them." Casey Jones, wait a moment. Splinter stopped him by putting a hand on his shoulder to prevent him from walking out. "If this involves the Shredder, then I cannot allow you to venture alone." "Splinter, I can't just leave the guys hanging like this, I gotta go help them." "I agree, that is why I am coming with you," Splinter replied. "Say what?" Casey asked. "As I said, this involves the Shredder, and nothing personal, but you would not last so much as 5 minutes against him," Splinter said, resulting in Casey scowling a bit. "But I shall go with you, and besides, I'm the only ones who knows where they went." "Oh, okay, guess that makes sense," Casey said. "So come on, what are we waiting for?" he asked as he lowered his hockey mask with an eager smile. "Let's go bust some skulls." Train to Ba Sing Se. Earthbenders propelled the train across the tracks from the outer wall towards the main city. Within the train sat several refugees, as well as our heroes. Aang sat on the right side along with Katara, Leo, and Mikey, while Raph, Don, Sokka, and Toph, with Momo on her lap, sat on the left side on board the moving train. The turtles were forced to wear their hooded robes again due to coming to a massive and densely populated city. As they sat, Katara looked out the window and saw their destination. "Look, the inner wall." The group looked out their own windows to see the large wall as well. "Finally," Mikey exclaimed. "We had to fight a bunch of fire jerks, a psycho owl, cross a desert, take down a massive drill and some old friends, but now we made it." "Got that right," Katara agreed. "I can't believe we finally made it to Ba Sing Se in one piece." "Was there ever any doubt?" Raph asked with a bit of confidence in his voice. "Hey, don't jinx it," Sokka stated. "We could still be attacked by a giant Fire Nation spoon, or find out the city's been submerged in a sea of killer shrimp." Don chuckled a bit. Exploding spoons wouldn't do that much damage, and no form of shrimp can survive without water. "Yeah, have you been hitting the cactus juice again?" Toph questioned Sokka. "I'm just saying, weird stuff happens to us," Sokka replied. "Yeah, same thing with our group too," Raph said. Right when that was said, an overweight man with an entire cob of corn in his mouth sat in between Raph and Sokka. "See what I mean?" Leo looked to Aang to see him looking rather worried. "Aang, we'll find Appa. I promise. It's such a big city." "Come on Aang, did you see the size of that bison?" Mikey tried to cheer him up. Where would they hide something that big? The train passed through a tunnel in the inner wall and they all saw the massive city that is the Earth Kingdom capital of Ba Sing Se. Something that made all of them, minus the blind Toph, look with wide eyes. "You just had to say something," Raph uttered to Mikey. The train stopped at the station, where the 8 heroes got off and they all got a good view of the large city. Toph sighed a bit. "Back in the city, great," she said sarcastically. "What's the problem?" Sokka questioned. "It's amazing. Just a bunch of walls and rules," Toph replied. "You wait, you'll get sick of it in a couple of days." Meh, Mikey said. What do you mean, meh? Katara asked. This place is big, but it's got nothing on Manhattan, that's a city. Mikey told her. Aang took out his bison whistle, he blew into it. I'm coming for you, buddy. Katara walked up to him and put a hand on his shoulder. Leo walked up as well. He's here, I can feel it. Let's not drop our guard down. Raph said. What do you mean by that? Don asked. You guys sure we should put all our hopes on Ba Sing Se? It just sounds too good to be true. Raph said. This is the first good thing that's happened to us, what's the worst that can happen? Sokka questioned. There's just something about this place that I don't like. Call it instinct. Raph replied as the train began to pull away. As the train left, it revealed a woman who had a very wide smile glued to her face. Okay, that's creepy. Mikey whispered. Leo could tell that smile was defiantly forced, maybe Raph was onto something. The woman walked forward to address the group. Hello, my name is Judy. She began. I have been given the great honor of showing the avatar around Ba Sing Se. You must be Katara, Sokka, and Toph, and you four must be these spirit warriors we've heard so much about. She said to the hooded turtles. Shall we get started? Yes. Leo began. Can you take us to see the Earth King? We have important information we need to give him. Great. Judy replied. Let's begin our tour, and then I'll show you to your new home here, I'll think you'll like it. Everyone looked rather surprised at that. Sokka then walked up to Judy. Maybe you misheard him. Sokka began. We need to talk to the king about the war, it's important. Judy kept up her unusually large smile. You're in Ba Sing Se now, everyone is safe here. Everyone had a confused expression on his or her face, save for Raph, whom Don whispered to. What was it you said about this being too good to be true? Don whispered. I think you may have been onto something. Yeah, something about this city just doesn't sit right with me. Raph whispered back. Team Avatar and the disguised turtles were now in a carriage with Judy, who had begun their tour, as she was showing them around the entire city. This is the lower ring. What's that wall for? Katara asked. Ba Sing Se has many walls. Judy answered. There are the ones outside, protecting us, and there are the ones inside to help maintain order. So what's so special about this place? Mikey asked. This is where our newest arrivals live, as well as craftsmen and artisans, people who work with their hands. It's so quaint and lively. The carriage passed by a couple of questionable men with swords. You do want to watch your step though. Why do they have all these poor people blocked off in one part of the city? Katara asked. It must be a hierarchy-based society. Don guessed. The lower class, which has all the poor people like this, the middle class, consisting of people who make average income, and the upper class, with the more important people. Yes, you seem very well researched. Judy said to Don. This is why I never came here before. Aang said. I always heard it was so different from how the monks taught us to live. Leo looked out the window and towards the city. He was defiantly getting an unsettling feeling about this place. Elsewhere in the lower ring, Zuko was walking down a street, where Iroh caught up with him, holding a large vase of flowers, which Zuko gave a questionable look at. I just want our new place to look nice, in case someone brings home a lady friend. Iroh said with a wink and a playful nudge to his nephew. Zuko sighed. This city is a prison. I don't want to make a life here. Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. Iroh replied. No, come on, I found us some new jobs and we start this afternoon. As they walked, they were unknowingly being followed by a certain group of teenagers. Look at them, Jet said with disgust in his voice. Firebenders living right under everyone's nose. He said as they walked further down. Smellerby and Longshot caught up with their leader. Jet, you saw a man with a hot cup of tea, it doesn't prove he's a firebender. Smellerby told him. And what if he is? Are we supposed to attack them? I thought we were starting over here, changing our ways. We are. Jet insisted. When I get the evidence I need, I'll report them to the police, and let them handle it. Okay. Smellerby and Longshot looked towards each other with concern evident on their faces. Back with the tour, for our heroes, the carriage entered a section of the city that looked less run down than the last one. This is the middle ring, home to the financial district, shops and restaurants, and university. Judy told the uninterested group. Yeah, we met a professor from Ba Sing Se University, Sokka began. The dude to us to an ancient library in the middle of the desert, Mikey continued. We also found some information in regards to the war, Don continued as well. That is absolutely crucial for the king to hear. Don, Mikey, and Sokka all said at the same time. Isn't history fascinating? Judy questioned, her smile not vanishing. Look, here's one of the oldest buildings in the middle ring, Town Hall. She walked out, but everyone else stayed inside. What is wrong with her? Mikey questioned. Every time we say the words, war, or, Fire Nation, she just blocks us out. It's called, being handled. Toph said. Get used to it. Guys, I'm getting a feeling Ba Sing Se isn't as glamorous as we thought it was. Raph pointed out. All that glitters is not gold. Leo said. What? Aang asked. Meaning, Raph may be onto something. Leo translated. Back in the lower ring. Jet hung outside a tea shop. He glanced inside the window to see Zuko and Iroh with the tea shop owner with aprons on. Well, you certainly look like official tea servers. The owner said to the two. How do you feel? Ridiculous. Zuko uttered under his breath. Iroh tried to tie the apron around his back but was unable to connect the string. Does this possibly come in a larger size? I have some extra string in the back. Have some tea while you wait. The shop owner said as he poured them 2 cups of tea and then walked to the back. Iroh sipped the tea, but his eyes widened in shock a bit. This tea is nothing more than hot leaf juice. Uncle, that's what all tea is. Zuko said. How can a member of my own family say something so horrible? Iroh questioned as he took the teapot. We'll have to make some major changes around here. Jet gasped as he saw Iroh heading towards the window he was spying from. He ducked away so Iroh didn't notice when he dumped the hot leaf juice outside. Jet then hung back into the shadows. The tour for the heroes had now entered the more wealthy part of Ba Sing Se. The upper ring is home to our most important citizens. Judy said. Your house is not too far from here. Lame city aside, at least we're getting the royal treatment for once. Mikey stated. The carriage soon passed a massive red building with a red wall surrounding the entire building. What's inside that wall? Katara asked. The group looked outside to see 3 men in dark green robes with the Earth Kingdom symbol on it and dark green saucer hats. They looked to the group with slight scowls, something the turtles especially noticed. And who are the questionable guys in robes? Don questioned. Inside that wall is the palace. Judy began. And those are agents of the Dai Li, the cultural authority of Ba Sing Se. They are the guardians of all our traditions. Cultural authority. Or secret police. Leo whispered to Raph. Can we see the king now? Aang asked. Oh no, one doesn't just pop in on the Earth King. Judy replied, resulting in most of the group hanging their heads. Of course they don't. Raph uttered in a sigh. The carriage stopped before a small house and the group walked outside. Here we are, your new home. Judy showed the group. A man walked up to her and handed her a scroll. More good news. Your request for an audience with the Earth King is being processed and should be put through in about a month, much more quickly than usual. A month? Sokka and Mikey both exclaimed at the same time. 6 to 8 weeks actually. Judy replied with her unnatural smile, resulting in Raph face palming. The group was then showed the inside of their new home. Isn't it nice? I think you'll really enjoy it here. Judy said. I think we'd enjoy it more if we weren't staying so long. Sokka said. Is there any way we can see the Earth King sooner? Leo asked. The Earth King is very busy running the finest city in the world, but he will see you as soon as time permits. Leo, Raph, Don, even Mikey, weren't quite convinced at this. If we're gonna be here for a month, we should spend our time looking for Appa. Aang said. At least make our stay more productive. Don agreed. I'll be happy to escort you anywhere you'd like to go. Judy offered with a bow. We don't need a babysitter. Toph said. We can handle this ourselves, so thanks but no thanks lady. Raph added as he and Toph both stood up, walking towards the door. Oh, I won't get in the way, and to leave you alone would make me a bad host. Where shall we start? Judy asked. Leo looked towards Judy, having a very bad feeling about this. He thought it was probably best to keep an eye on her. Lower ring. The group were in a pet shop. Momo was eating some of the feed off a perch but was growled away by some kind of cross between a cat and an owl. I'm sorry, I haven't heard anything about a flying bison, I didn't even know there were any. The shop owner said. If someone wanted to sell a stolen animal without anyone knowing, where would they go? Aang asked. A very rare animal that could be sold off at a very high price. Don added. Where's the black market? Who runs it? Come on, you know. Sokka questioned. You better spill, pal. Raph said as well. The shop owner began to sweat a bit. He glanced towards Judy, who shook her head. Leo noticed it out of the corner of his eye and gave a slight glare. Ah, that would be illegal. Really? Mikey asked with a cocked eyebrow. Even I know that's a lame excuse. You'll have to leave now, your lemur is harassing my sparrowkeets. He said, when in fact Momo was the one being harassed by the birds. Middle ring, Ba Sing Se University. The group was now questioning a student of the university. I've never seen any sandbenders or nomads around here. The student said. You should ask Professor Zay, he teaches the class on desert cultures. Wasn't that the same guy who went with us to that crazy library? Mikey asked Don. Yep, it is. Don confirmed. Raph then looked towards the student. Well, can any of your profs tell us about the Fire Nation, and the century-long war that's been going on? The student looked towards Judy, who shook her head again, something Leo noticed again as well. I don't know, I'm not a political science student, he said as he quickly got up with his scrolls. I have to get to class. He tripped and quickly picked up his scrolls before walking away in a hurry. Back at the house. Well, I'm sorry no one has seen your bison, Judy said from inside her carriage. Why don't you get some rest? Someone will be over with dinner later. She left in the carriage as it rolled away. Mikey gave a grateful sigh. I thought she'd never leave. Leo looked and noticed in the house across the street, someone was looking in their direction before ducking back inside. Guys, follow me, Leo said as the group walked towards the house. Leo knocked on the front door. A man slowly opened the door and stuck his head out. You're the Avatar, he said towards Aang. I heard you were in town. I'm Pong. Nice to meet you, Pong. Aang greeted. You can drop the act, you know. Raph told him. Something's up with this city and you know it. What are you talking about? Pong asked. Come on, why is everyone so scared to talk about the war? Sokka questioned. War, scared. Pong stuttered. I can feel you shaking. Toph said. And you're sweating. Don observed. Look, I'm just a minor government official, I've waited 3 years to get this house. I don't want to get into trouble. Get in trouble with who? Katara asked, but Pong quickly shushed her. Listen, you can't mention the war here. And whatever you do, stay away from the Dai Li. Pong closed the door. Yeah, I knew something was up with those guys. Raph said as the group walked back toward the house. Forget that, this whole city is messed up. Mikey stated. You can say that again. Toph stated. So what do we do now? Aang asked. You guys hang here. Leo began, referring to Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Toph. The rest of us will wait until nightfall when it's pitch black. We'll search this city and see if we can find Appa ourselves. By yourselves? Katara questioned. We've done this all the time back in New York. Don said. It's no different here. We'll also keep an eye out and see if we can find what's really going on here. Raph replied. Nexus Temple. At the very top of the underground pyramid, laid at least a dozen unconscious foot ninja, all of whom were recently dealt with by Master Splinter. He slowly walked up to the center of the monastery. He read the ruins before placing his palms together and chanting an inaudible language. This wasn't any too different from when he traveled to the Battle Nexus tournament. As he chanted, the ruins began to glow and a white vortex opened up. Casey, I believe I have found. He looked behind to see no one was there. Casey. Soon a response came in the form of a certain vehicle revving up. He looked towards the stairs to see Casey riding up on his motorcycle. Wahoo! Casey chanted as he began to make donuts on his motorcycle, then ride straight into the vortex. Splinter rubbed his face before sighing. Now I understand why Raphael enjoys his company. Splinter then ran into the Nexus portal after him. Ba Sing Se, night time. Jet spied on Zuko and Iroh as they were in their apartment. He hid behind hanging laundry near the roof. He looked through their windows and saw Zuko laying on his bed with Iroh at the counter. "Would you like a pot of tea?" Iroh offered. "We've been working in a tea shop all day." Zuko replied. "I'm sick of tea." "Sick of tea?" Iroh questioned as to how that was even possible. "That's like being sick of breathing." He began to look around. "Have you seen our spark rocks to heat up the water?" "They're not there," Jet said to himself as he held the spark rocks. "You'll have to firebend, old man." He saw Iroh leave from sight briefly. "Where are you going?" Iroh walked back into the room. "I borrowed our neighbors," he said to Zuko. "Such kind people." Iroh sparked the rocks and lit the timber under the teapot. Jet ducked behind his cover, though what he didn't notice were 4 certain individuals moving swiftly on the rooftops above and around, without making so much as a single noise. The turtles leapt from rooftop to rooftop, being silent as possible. As they did, they stopped at one point, looked around for any sign of the flying bison, but have had no luck so far. The turtles, however, did notice a few Dai Li agents patrolling the streets and alleyways throughout the city. It was clear that these agents were more like secret police, as Leo speculated. Far outside the outskirts of Ba Sing Se, while night was still present, all was silent in a forest outside the outer wall, but the noise was broken by the sound of a motorcycle riding throughout the forest, which rode out and jumped a hill before landing in a clearing. The one at the front of the motorcycle was in fact Casey Jones, with Master Splinter hanging on behind them. "Whoa," Casey breathed. "Can you believe we just jumped into another world? I imagine this must be quite stressful for you, not being used to this sort of thing." Splinter said. "Stressful? Huh? No chance. This is the most exciting thing that's happened to me ever," Casey exclaimed. "Goongala baby. Goongala." Splinter gave an amused smile as he shook his head. "Well, while I am glad that you have taken a positive reaction to this, remember why we're here." "Yeah, I know, we're looking for the guys," Casey replied. They both looked to their right to see the massive wall. "Yowza, now that is one big wall. Like Great Wall of China kinda big. How much are you willing to wager my sons are over there?" Splinter guessed. "Then let's find out." Casey revved up his motorcycle and rode forward. The Gong's house, early morning. Katara had apparently just woken up as she got outside and stretched with a yawn, but gave a startled shriek when the robed turtles dropped down in front of her. As she shrieked, Mikey also shrieked a bit as well. "Please don't do that," he breathed. "Almost jumped out of my shell. Sorry, but you almost gave me a heart attack, you guys are too quiet." Katara replied. "We're ninjas, remember, we're supposed to be quiet," Raph reminded. "So when did you guys get back?" she asked. "Just now," Leo replied. "You were searching all night." Don't remind me." Mikey groaned as he rubbed his eye and yawned. "This turtle seriously needs his beauty sleep." "Do you have any idea how big this city is?" Don questioned. "I think we only covered 1/3 of the entire city this entire night." "No sign of Appa. No sign of Appa," Leo replied. Katara then took the mail from the mailbox and found something very interesting. "But I think I just found something that could really help us. Come on inside." The group then walked inside to see Aang leaning on a railing, Toph sitting on a pillow, and Sokka laying on the floor with his legs prepped up against the wall. "Hey, look who's back," Toph said as she sensed the turtles walking into the room. "So did you find Appa?" Aang asked hopefully. "Does it look like we found Appa?" Raph groaned. "Sorry Aang, nothing yet." Leo apologized, causing Aang to look down a bit. "But Katara here does have some good news," Mikey pointed out. "Got that right, I know how we're going to see the Earth King." "How are we supposed to do that?" Toph questioned. "One does not just pop in on the Earth King," she mockingly quoted, earning a grin from Raph. "The king is having a party at the palace tonight for his pet bear," Katara revealed as she read the invitation. "So the guy's got a pet bear, huh?" Mikey guessed. "That's pretty cool." "You mean platypus bear?" Aang asked. "No, it just says, bear." "Certainly you mean his pet skunk bear," Sokka said. "Or his pet armadillo bear," Toph chimed. "Gopher bear?" Aang asked. "Just, bear," Katara read. "This place is weird," Toph said. "Ironic," Don said. "Because to us, that's the most normal thing the 4 of us have seen in this world." "What do you mean by that?" Aang asked. "Where we're from, we don't have hybrid animals," Raph said. "Hybrid animals?" Sokka asked, not really understanding it. Vulture wasps, skunk bears, saber-toothed moose lion, Don listed. Yeah, we just got lions, bears, tigers, wolves, hawks, lizards, normal animals. Mikey finished. Mixed animals aside, there's also the fact that you kids got some kind of elemental magic and hang out with a practical god, Raph gestured to Aang. One could say your world is pretty weird. Right, Toph said. This coming from 4 walking talking turtles. Touché. Raph replied. Getting back to the matter at hand. Leo got everyone's attention. How's this party going to help us? The palace will be packed, we could sneak in with the crowd. Katara proposed. Want, work, Toph said as she fell back on her pillow. Why not? Katara asked. Well, no offense to you simple country folk, but a real society crowd would spot you a mile away, you've got no manners. Toph said as she took a snack in her hand. Excuse me, I've got no manners, Katara questioned. You're not exactly Lady Fancy Fingers. No she isn't. Raph agreed with a smug grin, indicating he had no problem with it. Toph gave a burp before continuing. I learned proper society behavior and choose to leave it. She nonchalantly threw the half-eaten snack away. You didn't learn anything, and frankly it's a little too late. Then the 4 of us will just have to sneak in. Leo said. Did you guys not hear her? Sokka questioned. These fancy people would spot non-fancy people easy, I'm sure 4 giant turtles are gonna stick out like a sore thumb. You guys don't have ninjas here, do you? Don asked. Huh? Sokka questioned. Ninjas stick to the shadows, silent and indivisible. Mikey said as he held his arm in front of his face like a ninja. The way of the warrior. Come on, no one turns invisible. Sokka said skeptically. Leo, Don, Raph, and Mikey all looked to each other with mischievous grins. Hey, guys, look over there, Leo pointed out. Katara, Aang, and Sokka all looked in the direction where Leo was pointing. What? Katara asked. I don't see any. They turned around only to be surprised as the Ninja Turtles had completely vanished from sight, as though they were never there. Aang had an impressed smile on his face. Wow, they're good. Told ya. Mikey's head popped down from the ceiling, spooking Sokka and causing him to fall on his back, resulting in the turtles snickering as they dropped down. Well, you guys are covered. Katara observed. What about the rest of us? We're not exactly ninjas ourselves. Sokka then got an idea. Toph here did say she learned proper society stuff, she could teach us. Yeah, I'm mastering every element, how hard could manners be? Aang said as he draped a curtain around him like a fancy robe. Good evening Mr. Sokka Water Tribe, Ms. Katara Water Tribe, Leonardo-san, Donatello-san, Raphael-san, Michelangelo-san, Lord Momo of the Momo dynasty. He acted like a fancy man. Sokka draped himself in a curtain as well. Avatar Aang, how do you do? Mikey even used his own robe as a drape as well. All hail the king of the elements, I am honored to bask in your presence. He acted like a samurai lord. Aang, Mikey, and Sokka repeatedly and playfully bowed their heads before accidentally banging their heads together. Leo and Don shook their heads at their immaturity whereas Raph simply face-palmed. Katara might be able to pull it off. Toph said as she stood up. But you bozos would be lucky to pass as bus boys. Raph added. But I feel so fancy. Sokka said. Later that evening. Leo, Aang, Raph, Mikey, Don, and Sokka stood in the main room waiting for the girls to get ready. When the door opened, it revealed Katara and Toph dressed in fancy dresses with makeup, flower hair pieces, and fans. They both giggled. Aang blushed at seeing Katara this way. Wow, you look beautiful. Smooth, kid. Real subtle, Raph said sarcastically. Katara was about to reply but Toph put her fan over her mouth. Don't talk to the commoners Katara, first rule of society. Okay, everyone gather around. Don said as he pulled out a small box and opened it to reveal 8 small silver circular discs with a small blue button on each. What are they? Katara asked. They're comm links. Don replied. Comm links? Aang asked. Communication devices. Don answered. You put them in your ears, no one notices them, and we use them to keep in constant contact. Each of them took a comm link and put it in his or her ear. You press the button inside to talk and let it go to listen. Don then pressed the button. Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Well, I can hear your voice inside my head now, so I'd say that's a yes. Toph replied. Okay, here's the plan. Leo began. Katara and Toph will try to get inside while Raph, Don, Mikey and I sneak in through the roof. One group will try to get Aang and Sokka in through the side gate, and then we'll split up to search for the Earth King. Whoever finds him first, report your position. Even though I doubt Toph's family seal thing won't work, Raph stated. It got us into the bay last time, didn't it? Toph reminded. This a king's palace. The security there is going to be real. Raph said. We'll see about that, Toph replied as she and Katara walked outside. Meanwhile, Jet continued to spy. He was looking towards the tea shop that his targeted firebenders were working at. Jet, we need to talk, Smellerby said as she walked onto the scene with Longshot. Oh great, it's you guys. Jet said. Where have you been? I could use your help with surveillance here. We've been talking, Smellerby began, and we think you're becoming obsessed with this. It's not healthy. Oh really? You both think this? Longshot put a hand on Smellerby's shoulder to confirm it. We came here to make a fresh start, Smellerby reminded. But you won't let this go, even though there's no real proof. Well, maybe if you'd help me. Jet, you've got to stop this, Smellerby told him. Maybe you've forgotten why we need to start over. Jet began. Maybe you've forgotten how the Fire Nation left us all homeless, how they've whipped out all the people that we've loved. He questioned, causing his two comrades to look down. If you don't want to help me, I'll get the evidence on my own. Jet then began to walk towards the tea shop. Inside said shop, Zuko and Iroh were both serving tea to the many customers. Two of these customers were Earth Kingdom police officers, one of which really enjoyed his tea. This is the best tea in the city. The secret ingredient is love, Iroh said with a smile, causing Zuko to look a tad disturbed. Iroh walked up to the shop owner and both looked proudly at the many happy customers. I think you're due for a raise. Jet then slammed his foot on the door, kicking it open. I'm tired of waiting. These two men are firebenders. He pointed to Zuko and Iroh as he drew his hook swords. I know they're firebenders. I saw the old man heating his tea. The two policemen looked at each other. He works in a tea shop. He's a firebender, I'm telling you. The policemen were now getting serious. Drop your swords, boy, nice and easy. Jet walked towards Iroh. You'll have to defend yourself, then everyone will know. Go ahead, show 'em what you can do. Before the police could get up, Zuko stood in front of him. You want a show? I'll give you a show. He drew his Dao swords. Zuko kicked a table to Jet, which he used his hook swords to flip over in attempt to slice Zuko, but he jumped onto another table. Jet sliced the table in half and proceeded to slice Zuko again, but he jumped up and sliced downwards, causing Jet to backflip. Zuko and Jet then clashed with their respective blades. Earth King's palace. Crowds of people all gathered together on the ground below, but they didn't notice the four robed turtles leaping on top of the roof, without a single guard noticing. They quickly and quietly moved across the rooftop towards a window. It was locked, but they weren't too surprised. Raph used his sai to cut a hole in the window. He reached in and pulled the latch, unlocking the window. Leo then accessed his earpiece. Katara, Toph, this is Leo, we're in. We're almost in too. Katara answered back. Hey Raph, if you're listening, prepare to eat your words. Toph chimed in. The turtles were able to look down below to see the girls in the line of guests. Down below, Toph and Katara were coming up towards the guard at the front gate. Invitation please, the guard said. Toph held up her family seal. I think this will do. No entry without an invitation. The guard said. Step out of line please. Look, the Pangs and the Yum Su Hans are waiting in there for us. Toph told him. I'm gonna have to tell them who didn't let me in. Step out of line please. The guard insisted as he pointed in the opposite direction and they walked away. Told you, Raph said in his earpiece to Toph. Okay, so I was wrong. Toph grunted. Well, what are you guys gonna do now? Don asked. Katara noticed a well-dressed man in a dark green robe exit the carriage. She got an idea. Hang on guys. Katara told the turtles via her earpiece. I think I found our way in. They walked up towards the man. Excuse me sir. Katara began, while the concealed turtles looked towards them. I'm sorry to bother you, but my cousin lost our invitations. She's blind. She whispered that last part. Do you think you can help us? Our family's inside and I'm sure they're very worried. I am honored, the man said with a bow. Please come with me. He led the girls inside past the guard, while the robbed turtles snuck in through the window. A few minutes later, Leo, Raph, Don, and Mikey, still shrouded in black robes, stuck to the ceiling beams. Man, this is quite the party. Mikey observed. Hey dudes, look. They looked to where their youngest brother was pointing to. At the end of the long dining table sat none other than the Earth King's pet bear, dressed up fancy-like as well. Ah, isn't that cute? Mikey said. Yeah, cute as a puppy. Raph said with sarcasm evident in his voice. Guys, the girls are in. Leo said, and they looked down to the entrance to see Katara, Toph, and their escort walk inside. It's beautiful, isn't it? He said, referring to the bear. By the way, I'm Long Feng, I'm a cultural minister to the king. I'm Kwame. Katara introduced her made-up name. And this is Dumb. She introduced Toph, which caused Mikey to snicker a bit. Toph then pulled down on Katara's hair a bit, causing Raph to smirk a bit this time. Now where is your family? Long Feng asked. I'd love to meet them. Katara looked around. I don't see them right now, but I'm sure we'll find them soon, thanks for all your help. She and Toph began to walk away. Suddenly Long Feng appeared in front of them. Don't worry, as your escort it would be dishonorable for me to abandon you ladies without finding your family, we'll keep looking. Just go with him guys. Leo said to them via their comm links. We'll let Aang and Sokka in, once you get in with the crowd, you can slip away. Got it, Katara whispered into her earpiece. The turtles then turned to each other as Leo addressed his brothers. Okay, Mikey and Don, you try to find the Earth King. Raph, you get to the side entrance to let Aang and Sokka inside, I'll keep an eye on this guy. Yeah, Raph agreed. There's something about that Long Feng I don't like. We'll let you know if we find the Earth King. Don said. Come on Mikey. Don and Mikey hopped in one direction on the ceiling beams, while Raph did so in the opposite direction, leaving Leo alone, who couldn't help but give a suspicious look towards Long Feng. Meanwhile, Aang and Sokka, along with Momo, hung back by a large statue near the guarded side gate. Where are they? Aang wondered. Sokka then pulled Aang back. Look, I came up with a backup plan. He picked up the pet lemur. We dress Momo like a ghost, okay. He flies above the guards, causing a distraction, then we blast a hole in the wall. Yo guys, this is Raph. The red-clad turtle said through both their earpieces. Look to the window to your left. The guys looked towards the right. That's your right, idiots. They then looked in the opposite direction where they saw Raph by a window off the corner, waving them to come forward. They walked up to Raph. Did you find the Earth King yet? Aang asked. Not yet, but put these on. Raph replied as he tossed the two boys some uniforms. What are these? Sokka asked. Well, I did say you could pass off as bus boys, remember? Raph reminded. Sokka complained. But I had this great Momo ghost plan, but he couldn't finish as Raph grabbed him by the shirt and pulled him in, prompting Aang to follow in as well. Zuko was thrown out the door of the tea shop as he continued to clash blades against Jet. You must be getting tired of using those swords. Why don't you go ahead and firebend at me? Jet baited. Please son, you're confused. You don't know what you're doing. Iroh pleaded from inside the tea shop. As the two swordsmen continued to clash, Jet was able to hook his two swords together and began to swing them like a long blade whip. Bet you wish he'd be able to help you out with a fire blast right now. Jet stated as he swung across the ground towards Zuko. Zuko then pierced the ground, in between the handle of the attached hook sword, immobilizing it. You're the one who needs help. Zuko told Jet. Zuko used his only available sword to make a horizontal slice, which Jet limboed to avoid, but it did manage to slice the hay straw in Jet's teeth. Jet backflipped onto a nearby well. You see that? Jet addressed the crowd they've gathered. The Fire Nation is trying to silence me. It'll never happen. He jumped back to Zuko as they clashed again. Back at the party, Don and Mikey rejoined Leo on the ceiling beams. Mikey was holding an armful of herbs, which he was currently enjoying. How do you even get that? Leo asked. Do you really want to know? Mikey questioned. On second thought, no. Leo replied. So where's this Long Feng guy? Don asked. Leo looked around. That's odd, I can't see him anymore. Maybe vanished with the crowd. Raph came up to his brothers. Alright, I got them inside. Where are they? Leo asked. Raph pointed downward to Aang and Sokka, who were currently serving food and dressed as busboys. I see Katara and Toph coming up to them as well. Don noticed. Leo then accessed his comms. Okay, everyone here. Yep, Aang replied. I'm here. Katara said. I hear you. Sokka replied. Whatever. Toph grunted a bit. Any sign of the king? Aang asked into his comm. Not yet. Don replied. He can't be that hard to spot. Sokka said. Lots of jewelry, flowing robes. Oh I see, so that pretty much narrows it down to everyone in this joint. Raph stated. Then how are we supposed to find him? Katara asked. Heads up guys, incoming at 6 o'clock. Mikey warned. Judy managed to get to the 4 kids, whom she was able to recognize them. What are you doing here? She whispered. You all need to leave immediately or we'll all be in terrible trouble. She tried to shove Sokka away, but he blocked her with a tray he was holding. Not until we see the king. Sokka protested. Don was the first to notice her odd behavior. Is it just me? He said to his brothers. Or is she acting scared? It's not just you, she's defiantly nervous. Leo confirmed. Nervous? About what? Mikey wondered. When Judy shoved Sokka, he accidentally backed into Aang, causing him to accidentally spill some water all over a woman. Sorry. Please don't shout. Aang apologized before using airbending to dry her off, but also blowing her clothes a bit, causing the turtles to grimace as his hat fell off, revealing his air nomad tattoos. What are you doing, stupid? Raph screamed into his comm to Aang, hurting his eardrums. The Avatar, the woman breathed in amazement. I didn't know the Avatar would be here. This caught the attention of pretty much every guest in the chamber as they all set their eyes on Aang. Aw shell. Mikey cussed as he, Raph and Don face palmed whereas Leo grimaced a bit. There goes our cover. Don grimaced. Aang awkwardly waved to the group. Thinking fast though, Leo quickly contacted him. Aang, put on a show. Entertain them, the rest of us will look for the Earth King. Aang then followed up on Leo's instructions. Watch this everybody. Aang jumped up onto the table. He used waterbending to bend the drinks out of everyone's cups, which he brought together in a multicolored liquid sphere, much to the guests, even the bears, delight. Zuko and Jet continued their sword fight, which gathered the attention of everyone in the surrounding neighborhood. They got back to back and continued to collide their respective blades against each other. 2 Dai Li agents soon walked onto the scene. Drop your weapons. One of them ordered. Jet ceased his fighting and jumped back to the 2 agents. Arrest them. He pointed to Zuko and Iroh. They're firebenders. This poor boy's confused. Iroh said to the agents. We're just simple refugees. This young man wrecked my tea shop and assaulted my employees. The shop owner pointed out. It's true sir. The police officer from before added. We saw the whole thing, this crazy kid attacked the finest tea maker in the city. Iroh blushed at that. Oh that's very sweet. The 2 Dai Li agents approached Jet. Come with us son. Jet swung his sword toward that agent, but he caught it in some kind of rock glove. They pinned Jet's hands behind his back and bent the rocks from their gloves around his wrists, creating a form of handcuffs. You don't understand. They're Fire Nation. You have to believe me. Jet exclaimed as the agents dragged him to their carriage. They threw him in the back and closed the door before riding off. Smellerby and Longshot, who saw the whole thing, managed to slip away into a nearby alleyway. Back at the party, multiple guards carried a large paladin holding a man inside. This caught the attention of the still-hidden turtles. Hey bros, I think we found him. Mikey pointed out. They all saw it. If that's not the king, I don't know who is. Don said. Leo was able to contact Aang via comms. Aang, the Earth King is spotted at your 12 o'clock. Aang heard Leo's message. He stopped his spectacle and formed an air scooter and began to ride on the table towards the Earth King. Greetings your majesty, he said with a cheery smile. The guards however soon lifted the paladin and began to carry it away. Whoa, what's going on? Raph questioned. Something's not right. Leo looked down. I think you might be right Raph. They all looked down below as 2 Dai Li agents grabbed Sokka from behind, and carried him off. Another agent launched his rock gloves towards Toph, One covered her mouth and the other grabbed her shoulder as they pulled her away. The same thing happened to Katara a few seconds later. That can't be good, Dawn said. Leo contacted Aang again. Aang, fall back now. Huh? Aang questioned as he came to the end of the table and was greeted by a different man. Avatar, it is a great honor to meet you. I am Long Feng, Grand Secretariat of Ba Sing Se and head of the Dai Li. I'd like to talk to you, your friends will be waiting for us in the library. Long Feng began to walk with Aang following him. Oh, he continued. And you also may wish to invite your other friends. You know, the ones hidden in the shadows. In the ceiling above. That caught the turtles by surprise. He knew. Mikey questioned. So this guy's head of the Dai Li, huh? Dawn stated. I knew there was something fishy about him. Raph said. Leo couldn't help but give a contemplating glare at this whole situation. Aang, Sokka, Katara, and Toph stood with Leo, Dawn, Raph, and Mikey, who still bore their hooded robes as they faced Long Feng, who sat in front of an eerie green fireplace. The door was closed behind them. Raph had a hand on one of his concealed say in case things turned south. Why won't you let us talk to the king? Sokka demanded. We have information that can defeat the Fire Nation. The Earth King has no time to get involved in political squabbles and the day-to-day minutiae of military activities. You can cut that lame story now. Raph interrupted Long Feng. I don't know what kind of scam you're pulling here, pal, but this isn't a utopia. Raph. Dawn tried. No, Raph's right. Leo began. You have Dai Li agents in nearly every corner of the city. Normally it would make sense given there's a war going on outside your doorstep, but you constantly try to hide anything in regards to the war, isolating refugees in the lower ring from everyone else. If I had to guess, I'd say you're trying to keep the entire war a secret from the Earth King. I doubt he even knows there is one. Heck, I doubt he even makes the decisions around here, and you're the one who's really in charge, am I wrong? Long Feng flashed an amused smile. You're much more clever than I had anticipated. So the king is just a figurehead. Katara realized. He's your puppet, Toph exclaimed. Oh no, no. Long Feng dismissed. The Earth King is an icon, a god to his people. He can't sully his hands with the hourly changes of an endless war. Yep, sounds like a figurehead to me. Dawn said. You're the mastermind here, Mikey pointed out. But we found about a solar eclipse. Sokka tried but Raph interrupted him. Forget it, Sokka, this guy ain't gonna listen. He's so busy trying to keep the war a secret, he won't even bother listening to any kind of advice we have. That's how these control freaks work. Long Feng didn't like Raph's comment. Control freak. I'm merely trying to maintain order. It is the strict policy of Ba Sing Se that the war not be mentioned within the walls. Constant news of an escalating war would throw the citizens of Ba Sing Se into a state of panic. Meanwhile, in an unknown location, Jet was dragged into a dark and small room. He was forced down into a chair and clamped down via rock restraints. You have to believe me. They're firebenders. They won't stop till they win the war. Rocks were bent on his head to pin him back to the chair. Calm down. You're safe now, a Dai Li agent in front of Jet said as a lantern began to circle around him. Our economy would be ruined. Our peaceful way of life, our traditions would disappear. Long Feng continued. There's no war in Ba Sing Se. The agent said as the light continued to circle him. What are you talking about? Where do you think all the refugees come from? You can't hide it, Jet said, but for some reason, he couldn't take his eyes off the lantern. In silencing talk of conflict, Ba Sing Se remains a peaceful, orderly, utopia. The last one on Earth. Long Feng revealed. Jet's mouth was covered with stone as he was forced to watch the circling light. There is no war within the walls. Here we are safe, here we are free. Jet's eyes widened as he let these words sink into his mind. This place may be orderly, but it is not peaceful. Leo said to Long Feng. You're ruling through intimidation and fear, you're no different from the Fire Lord. Yeah, only that jerk announces that he's the bad guy. Mikey added. You just cover it up. Say what you will, it doesn't change a thing. Long Feng said. You can't keep the truth from all these people, they have to know. Katara told him. I'll tell them. I'll make sure everyone knows. Aang stated. Long Feng stood up. Until now, you have all been treated as our honored guests. But from now on, you will be watched every moment from Dai Li agents. Go ahead and send your drones our way, we'll just knock them down. Raph said. Or better yet, he drew his say, we can just take you down right now. Attack a high-ranking government official. Long Feng asked skeptically. In doing so, you'll become criminals to Ba Sing Se, enemies to the Earth Kingdom. Is that really what you want, especially considering you're already enemies to one nation? Raph growled. I also understand that you're looking for your bison. It would be quite a shame if you were not able to complete your quest. That especially earned a glare from Aang. So to be clear, you're blackmailing us. Don guessed. You make it sound so invasive. That's it. Raph was about to jump forward but Leo stopped him. No, not yet. Leo told Raph. One look from his leader's eyes told the red-clad turtle that Long Feng would get his soon. It seemed to calm Raph down enough for him to put his weapons away. Now, Judy will show you home. Long Feng said as a woman entered the room. Wait, what happened to Judy? Mikey asked. This clearly was a different woman. I'm Judy, I'll be your host during your stay in this wonderful city. The others then began to leave the library, but the last to leave was Leonardo as he turned to Long Feng. I want to make something perfectly clear, Long Feng. The blue-clad turtle began. You can try to cover this up all you want. You can try to maintain order, but the more you tighten your grip, the more likely something will slip through your fingers. You'll slip up, sooner or later. All one needs is patience to wait for that moment. And you'll find that there's no one as patient as a ninja. Leo left as the door closed, leaving Long Feng in the room alone. He looked down to find his right hand shaking and he even found himself sweating a bit as Leo's statement appeared to strike some form of nervousness into this man. Chapter 8, Tales of Ba Sing Se. The Tale of Raph and Toph. Toph and Raph, who was wearing his dark red hooded robe, were walking through the streets of Ba Sing Se. It was a long and dragging day for these two. Toph gave a loud and highly emphasized yawn, just for the sake of boredom. What's up, kid? Raph asked. I'm just so bored, Toph complained. Seriously, even my boredom is bored. Yeah, I hear ya, this city sucks. Raph agreed. Not to mention we got those lame Dai Li losers lurking in the shadows. Those punks need to be taught a lesson. Toph stated as she punched her right fist into her left palm. Oh, don't worry, they'll get their dues, them and that Long Feng prick. Raph assured. But for now, let's find a way to pass the time a bit, an opportunity will present itself. Toph gave a groan. Man, what I wouldn't give for some action right now. You and me both. Raph soon thought of something. Say, in the mood for some sparring. Sparring. Yeah, it'd be a nice way to pass the time, and get a few licks in too. Raph stated. Toph gave a bit of a grin. Alright, sounds fun, but where are we gonna go? I doubt there's a place here that contain our awesomeness. Don't worry, kid, I know the perfect spot. 5 minutes later. Rocks were seen flying everywhere in the empty valley that was just outside the inner wall. This spot was perfect, no civilians to see Raph, who currently didn't have his robe, and no Dai Li goons to spy on them. Raph leapt up on an incoming rock and jumped onto a tree branch. You know what I love most about combat practice? Combat. Raph answered his own question as he jumped down to give a kick towards Toph. Toph fell back to have Raph soar over her. Right when he landed, she shot her fist up so that an earth pillar shot up out of the ground to send Raph flying in the air. He tossed one of his sei in her direction, which she blocked by creating an earth wall, letting it bunch right off. You and me both, buddy. Toph replied to Raph's statement by sending a few rocks in his direction, which he was able to quickly duck under and cut through with his remaining sai. He swerved in front of her and swept her off her feet, but before she hit the ground she motioned a pillar to rise and stand her upright. Rocks shot out from the pillar around her head and towards Raph, forcing him to backflip to avoid them. Toph shot another rock pillar towards him, and he was able to jump on the pillar itself and leap high into the air. Where'd you go? Toph said to herself as she couldn't feel him, that is until he landed right behind her. Raph then grabbed Toph and pinned her to the ground, aiming his sai close to her neck, while also Toph prepared a few earth spikes towards his chest. After about a minute of this, the two both snickered before they each broke out in laughter. They both eased themselves while they laughed and sat on their bums on the ground and easing their laughs a bit. Now that was fun, Toph said with a wide smile. Let's call it a draw, kid. Raph suggested. You're the first one to ever get me in a draw, not bad, Raph. Toph commented. Not bad yourself, kid. They both laid on their backs in relaxation and both gave deep sighs. This is the life, Toph said. You said it. Sure beats my home life. Toph began. My parents wouldn't let me get outside, let alone do something like this. Rough childhood, huh? Raph guessed. That's putting it mildly. I can relate. Raph began. Back home, my brothers and I couldn't even leave the sewers. Master Splinter had us all stay down below for about 15 years. Yeah, well, at least from what I hear of him, this Splinter guy is actually pretty cool. Toph commented. The coolest, you'd love him. Raph said. I never really told anyone this, but he's the coolest dad a turtle can have. Sure, he's strict, but he's looking out for us. I'll always be grateful for that. Wish I had a dad like that. Toph said. All mine did was just keep me locked up, try and make me in his image, like he and mom didn't even try to get to know the real me. As Toph continued, Raph sat up and looked towards Toph while he listened. They just wanted to make me the way they wanted. Toph looked down a bit and it looked like small tears were in her eyes. So yeah, rough childhood is only an understatement. As Toph looked down a bit, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Your folks can go screw themselves. Raph said. Any parent who doesn't even try to understand their kid isn't worth the effort. They don't know you, but I do. Toph looked up a bit as Raph continued. To me, you're the strongest, coolest 12-year-old girl the planet, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're awesome. I am. Toph asked with a slight smile as she perked up. Yeah, I mean that. Raph told her with every bit of seriousness in his voice. Toph smiled at Raph's comment and had a slight blush too. You're not so bad yourself, you know, for a big green turtle. Raph gave an amused chuckle. Thanks, Raph, Toph said before giving him a punch in the arm, which the red-clad turtle grinned at. The tale of Mikey and Katara. Katara sat in the house of their current residence in Ba Sing Se, looking rather down and somewhat depressed. Depression turned into shock and surprise when Mikey suddenly hung down from the ceiling. Booga, 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 Mikey exclaimed, causing Katara to scream and fall over in surprise. Mikey gave a laugh while the less than pleased Katara got back up on her feet. Mikey, don't do that. Didn't your mother teach you not to scare people? Nope, don't have a mom. Mikey told her with his smile still present. Katara groaned. Whatever, just doesn't do that again, she said as she turned around and began to walk away. Whoa, what's with the killjoy attitude? Mikey questioned. Just trying to have some fun. What's up with you? Katara stopped and sighed. We finally made to Ba Sing Se. After a long journey we finally made it, only to find this whole city is just one big lie. I know, it sucks. Mikey agreed. But don't worry, we're gonna get that long Feng creep. Gonna find him and give him the old ninja noogie. He said as he tried to give Katara a slight noogie, but she got out of the grip. Sometimes though, a part of me wonders if what we do at all is gonna make a difference. Katara guessed. Mikey looked somewhat sympathetic, but an idea popped in his head. Hey, let's forget the heavy stuff right now. I know the perfect way to cheer you up, come on. Mikey then pulled Katara outside. A few moments later, the two were in an underground tunnel. Katara had formed an ice board and was holding onto Mikey, who tied a rope around the front of the board to keep them secure. They were currently on a small stream of water that was going slow. Ew, Katara said in disgust. And why are we in the sewers? They're not so bad, Mikey stated. I've lived in a sewer most my life. Besides, this is just a storm drain, this is only rainwater. But still, why are we here? For that. Mikey pointed to the end of the tunnel, which was a steep vertical decline, and the water ran at a much quicker pace, almost like a waterfall. Once Katara saw this, she gave a wide-eyed look. Mikey, she tried. Get ready, sister. Mikey told her. Keep your hands and feet on board the ice ramp at all times, and prepare for the ultimate thrill ride, sewer sledding. They neared the drop. Are we seriously going through with this? Shell yeah, Mikey exclaimed right when they dropped. Cowabunga. At that moment this felt exactly like a water slide as the two slid down. Mikey was cheering and yelling, wahoos, as they rode, while Katara was screaming and holding onto Mikey tightly. They made many twists and turns all throughout this storm drain turned water slide. As they kept moving, with the water and mist coming into their faces, Katara's scream turned into something of a joyous laughter as a smile formed on her face. Mikey and Katara both laughed as they continued to slide for a few minutes before coming out of a pipe and landing in a lake just outside the inner wall. They both popped out with Mikey spitting out water and both continued to laugh while treading. See what I tell ya? Katara calmed down a bit. Okay. I have to admit, that was kind of fun. Now there's a smile. Mikey pointed out. Katara, life does throw a few curveballs and it has its downs, but hey, there's always something fun, always something to get the edge off you. Katara smiled. You're even more optimistic than Aang when he first came out of the iceberg. I try to be, Mikey told her. But when things get serious, I get serious too, so I'm not a complete goofball. No, you're only a partially goofball. Katara joked and the two laughed. Jokes, now you're learning. The tale of Dawn and Sokka. Sokka walked through town, nonchalantly throwing his boomerang, which returned to him. However, with each throw he gets a little more and more frustrated as something seems to be bothering him. On his fifth throw he angrily tosses it, only for it to be caught by Dawn, who was leaning against a building, still bearing his dark purple robe. Hey, careful, Dawn said. You can poke an eye out with this thing. Dawn told him as he handed Sokka back his boomerang. Not in the mood. What's eating you up, Sokka? Dawn asked. He sighed. A lot. Okay. There's a lot bothering me. Sokka yelled. We think we're one step ahead of the Fire Nation, then we've got this whole thing with the Dai Li. Geez, can't we just get a break? They'll get what's coming to them, and we will take the Fire Nation down, but we need patience. Dawn said. If we just rush into things without thinking it all through, it ends turning into a disaster, just as Raph, he's got experience with that. I always think things through. Sokka replied. But why doesn't Leo just come up with a plan if he's such a good leader? Seriously. Who put him in charge? I'm supposed to be the leader. Ah, I get, that's what's eating you. Dawn realized. Sokka wondered. You're upset because you're a tad jealous of Leo, is that it? Sokka threw a finger up and opened his mouth, but he couldn't find the words, so he lowered his finger and looked down a bit. It was the only thing I had going. What do you mean? It's just, Aang, Katara, Toph, they're benders, they've got all this cool stuff, and you guys, you're giant turtles and you got awesome fighting and stealth skills. What do I got? I was the leader at one point, but that's all I had. Leo's just a better leader than I am, so what am I? What place do I have on this team? Sokka looked down but felt a hand from Dawn. Come on, that's not your only talent. Dawn told him. You got the makings of an engineer. Really? Yeah, come on. Dawn motioned for Sokka to follow him. The two made it to the house they were currently staying at. Dawn laid out some blueprints he brought with him on the table and let Sokka take a look at them. What's all this? These are designs for a vehicle back home, the battle shell. Dawn told him. Take a look. Sokka took up the schematics and looked at it. He turned it in every which way to get a good look at it, while also hanging his tongue out a bit. Wow, this is, Sokka couldn't find the right words, as he was impressed beyond belief. How this run on its own? How do you get so many weapons? You know, maybe we can make something like this for the invasion, make our own, battle shell. A wide smile formed on Sokka's face, which caused Dawn to give a knowing grin. Yes, that's it. With the right stuff, we can make the, Sokka shell. Well, I don't know about the name, but we could make something. Dawn told him. And see, now you get it. Get what? Dawn took out his bow staff. You see this, Sokka? Your staff. What about it? To the average person, this just seems like a stick, so no one would find a worth for it. But I've seen you use that. Sokka said. You kicked Major but with that thing. That's no ordinary stick. Exactly. Dawn pointed out. Nothing's useless, no one is useless. Everyone's best at something and some people may be more talented at one thing than others, but everyone has something that makes them who they are. I'm a bit of an engineer myself, so I know one when I see one. Sokka smiled. I think I get it now. I think I understand. You're right, Dawn, with the three of us together, there's nothing that can't stop us. He said with a renewed sense of confidence. 3 of us? Dawn asked. Sokka put an arm around Dawn's shoulder and pulled him close. You, me, and Boomerang. Sokka pulled out his most trusted companion and had a wide toothy grin on his face while Dawn just had an amused smile. My work here is done. The tale of Leo and Aang. Aang found himself on an empty plain just outside the inner wall. He got up on his air scooter and soared around in a circle. As he soared, he motioned his left fist upward, which created an earth wall that would rise up wherever he rode, creating an earth ring. Once the ring was completed, he formed an earth pillar in the center, which he jumped up on with a boost from his air scooter. He then pulled water out of a nearby lake. The young avatar bent the water around him in the form of a ring for a bit until he formed a water ball, which he sent straight up into the air and dispersed it to create some brief rain for a few seconds. Not bad, not bad. Aang looked down to see Leo wailing onto the scene. Aang jumped down and used airbending to cushion his landing. Yeah, I think I'm mastering the elements quite nicely, Aang said, with some pride evident in his voice. Almost all. Leo said. I noticed you didn't use any firebending. Aang's smile vanished. I mean, I get it, you don't have a firebending teacher yet, but I'm never firebending again, Aang said, much to Leo's surprise. What? Leo asked. You heard me, I'm not doing it again. Why not? Leo questioned. You're the avatar, the master all four elements. Which means you're not just an airbender, you're also an earthbender, waterbender, and even a firebender. I don't care, I can't do it again. Aang replied. The last time I firebent, I burnt Katara. Not surprising, Leo said. Play with fire, you get burnt. But accidents happen, you can't just give up on a martial art just because. It's not just that, Aang began. Fire burns everything in its path, forests, homes, people, it destroys everything in sight. That's something I can't use. Aang looked down in shame. Leo looked towards the young avatar. Aang, listen to me. He turned to the blue-clad turtle. Fire can be dangerous, but it's not the only danger in the world. The other elements can be just as dangerous too. What do you mean? You can drown someone with waterbending. Leo began to explain. Not to mention you can create all sorts of weapons from ice, icicles can even stab and kill people. Well maybe, but, Aang tried. With earthbending you can cause a cave-in or an avalanche to crush someone. Earthquakes have been known to take lives before. Leo continued. Okay, that's true, but. And hurricanes and tornadoes are deadly forces of nature made from wind and air. Maybe, one could use airbending to pull the air out of someone's lungs and suffocate them. Leo finished. That can't be, Aang exclaimed, getting Leo's attention. I mean sure, waterbending and earthbending, maybe even airbending can be dangerous, but there's good with them. Water can bring life, earth can protect, and air is the element of freedom for my people. My point exactly, Leo revealed, much to Aang's surprise. There's a good side and bad side to every element. If those three are capable of bad, then shouldn't fire also be capable of good too? Leo questioned. Sure, fire can burn and it can hurt, but it can also help. For someone who's trapped on a mountain and may be on the verge of freezing to death, a fire can be their salvation. Fire can light the way in a dark night and give you visibility. And yes, there are forest fires, but after that the forest comes back stronger than ever, the fire actually helps make it stronger. Just as fire can be destructive, it can also bring light. Aang took all these words to heart. Wow. I guess I never thought of it that way. I understand your need to be cautious, but you also have to understand that as the avatar, you need to master firebending sooner or later. I'm not trying to put pressure on you, I just want to help. It's the same situation for every warrior, he or she must acknowledge the two sides of themselves, both the good and the bad, and choose the path they believe to be right. Aang still looked down a bit. Okay, I get it, but I still worry a bit. I mean, the whole world is resting on my shoulders and I don't know if you can do it alone. Leo put a hand on the young boy's shoulder as he looked up to the sword-wielding turtle. You're not alone in this, Aang, my brothers and I are with you all the way. A smile formed on Aang's face. Thanks Leo, I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. Leo smiled. So, what do you say we put those bending skills to the test, huh? Leo drew his swords and took a combat stance. Aang smiled at this as well. You're on. He accepted the challenge as he took a bending stance. The two warriors exchanged confident glances before charging forward and meeting each other in the center with smiles on their faces. And this is the end of part 4 of this What If. I hope you guys like it. Don't really leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel.